Did you feel pressure? Did you feel nerves?
Not really, to be honest.
No.
Oh, this is a sick edit already. What? Pressure. What pressure? Pressure's for tires. He's too dumb to feel pressure, honestly.
Next question.
Being too stupid to feel or even understand pressure must be an elite tool for an athlete. So, listen to this. If you're one of those people who watch Cole Palmer stutter in his interviews and think to themselves, see, he's so dumb, I got bad news for you. It's time to lock those eyes to the screen and realize that this. If you're one of those people who watch Cole Palmer stutter in his interviews and think to themselves, see, he's so dumb, I got
What one thing I'll say about this is like, how do you feel as Cole Palmer? No, how do you feel if like you're just like so good on top of the game, and then niggas is calling you dumb? Like I don't know how to explain, but like you know what I mean. Just like, how would you feel like you're just so good, like you can't really like, you know, when someone's so good, they can't really pick at your what. Like, they can't make fun of you for how you play, but like, you know, your appearance, you know, Cole's a mouth breather. You know, that Messi, he's autistic. Ronaldo, I mean, I don't know. It's just, the dick riding is like, you know, generational for Ronaldo fans. But like, how do you feel? I'm talking too much. How would you feel like the internet is just calling you stupid? What?
news for you. It's time to lock those eyes to the screen and realize that Cole Palmer is one of the smartest players in the league. I don't care what goes on outside the pitch. This guy has been pulling outlandish numbers since he was a child, and still
that's a striker's finish.
Scouting reports, and the first thing they mention is never his dribbling or his goal scoring. It's his football IQ. The kid is a footballing genius. Go back to 2010 when the kid was still back in goddamn Wythenshawe, splitting his
goddamn Wythenshawe.
Attention, watching his father in the Sunday League and playing grassroots football, and everyone around him already knew it. Just listen to what his first coach.
How does he find these?
Every game, I'd catch myself about to yell, "What are you doing?" Only to realize 5 seconds later that this prodigy had put in a pass that I would have never even seen. At that age, Liverpool City and his childhood club Man United were already all coming after him, and even then, he remained cold-blooded. The second United told him he'd only be coming in for a trial, he turned their backs on him and joined City instead. He wasn't gonna allow anyone to slow him down. In fact, hear this story out.
That's Ice Cold Palmer.
2018, the Man City...
Mind you, City used to be ass back then. They were like, think of maybe Newcastle. No. Think of like Fulham or Brighton or something worse. No, there's the London clubs, and then there's like Crystal Palace. Man City were like Crystal Palace. They were ass, and he turned down Man United for City. Genius.
The academy held a meeting to decide which players to kick out of the club, and Cole Palmer's name was on the list. With all of his teammates growing far bigger than him, his performances had been in decline for 2 whole seasons.
Bro, you see how he's moving? Okay, no, I won't repeat.
Which players to kick out of the club, and Cole Palmer's name was on the list.
He was pretty skinny. Like I said, hey, oh.
Everyone looking for the fastest, most
he got him again.
They were on the verge of signing off on his release when Jason Wilcox, the director of the whole academy, stepped in and overrode their decision.
Jason?
When asked what he saw in him, you know what he said? He's extremely clever. You guys can see the things he's seeing.
Jason.
What's your idea of wealth?
Jason. Holy cow.
If you want to learn how to edit really well for professional Hollywood editors, we're going to show you the stuff that nobody else is teaching.
Over
Jason.
12 months after years of going home lamenting to his father that he just wished he was bigger, Palmer jumped up from 5'7" to 6'2" in a flash. Just 1 year later, not only was he captaining Man City's under-18s to the league title, putting down 20 goal contributions in 1,100 minutes, but he had put them in the final of the FA Youth Cup.
Only to lose to Chelsea.
First to level the match, then score the winner. Lifted up his jersey to show a picture of Jeremy Weston, his former teammate who tragically took his own life after City refused to help him find an agent after dropping him from the academy right in the middle of the pandemic.
No.
As go on to say, off the pitch,
it's that bad.
Allow this guy. I don't say much, but once there, it all comes out. And over the next 3 years, it would not be any different.
Rest in peace, Jeremy.
The problem was that the reward never came.
Rest in peace.
The next season, they got him training with the first team permanently while still playing mostly with the under-23s. But even once the 19-year-old completely dismantled guys that should be playing 4 age groups above him.
I'll pause one more time. He's saying at 19, I don't know, it's just crazy. Like guys like Rico Lewis, actually I don't know. But at 19, you're still not really in the starting squad. Like it wasn't until like it was like 20. This is ridiculous, bro. You should have been like in the main squad at like 17, but.
Dropping 19 goal contributions in just 1,200 minutes and taking the
Oh
league
my
title
God.
again. All Pep Guardiola had waiting for him was one League Cup appearance and 8 minutes in the Champions League. The year after that, he opened things up with his first goal for the senior team, then came back on a month later against Burnley and ran into the dressing room the moment the final whistle was heard, grabbed his coat, ate a cereal bar, and ran out the back door as Grealish and Foden looked at him like he was crazy. An hour later, he was already back with the under-23s asking the manager if he could still be putting the starting 11 despite having already played a match that day. And by the end, he had banged in a hat-trick. But even when
Wait, what?
came up to him, asking him about the situation, all he had to say was, if there's a game happening somewhere, I want to be in it. This isn't a big deal.
That's legal?
A couple other lads have done it too.
That's cold though.
Minus the hat trick.
Playing in the first team and then hat trick same day.
Call-ups, even though he scored in the Champions League just 3 days later and came back in January to take the man of the match in his first game of the year.
Oh, he did us. Oh, he did.
Injury, leaving him out for 3 months.
Oh no, he did Chelsea. No.
3 days later and came back
I
in
didn't.
January
Oh,
to take the match in
it's
his first game
Kepa.
of the year. That would be his last appearance. With a foot injury leaving him out for 3 months and Pep too busy fighting off Liverpool to notice he had been averaging a goal contribution every 85 minutes he had played under his guidance.
Ooh.
He kept hearing the same old promise. Next year, it will be your turn. But
We know about that, Bob.
Transfer market by
Fucking
shipping
liar.
out Gabriel Jesus and Sterling, supposedly opening up the way for Palmer's full introduction into the team. It wasn't quite like that. 10 months later, though 21-year-old Palmer got to collect the Champions League medal as his team conquered the second ever the way for Palmer's full introduction into the team. It wasn't quite like that. 10 months later, though 21-year-old Palmer got to
I know a certain couple. I know quite a few people. You know, certain teams. You know, from like North London, who probably never seen. You know that. You know what I mean? Feel me? And, I mean, he wasn't even. Hey, this guy right here. You know, he has a Champions League trophy. You know what I mean?
like the Champions League medal as his team conquered
Before a
the
certain
second ever
team.
travel in the history of English football. The reality is that he had virtually nothing to do with it, and he knew it. Looking at his 25 appearances, you'd almost be led to believe that things had changed, but really, the kid who a year before seemed to be salivating at the chance to play wherever it may be, was now averaging only 25 minutes of game time whenever Pep even let him on the pitch. Either things changed, or Palmer was gonna have to change them himself. And so, 12 days after the Champions League final, Palmer arrived at the Under-21 European Championship, and though he started off slow, once he watched Gibbs White miss a penalty in the semi-finals, risking England's best chance at taking that trophy in 39 years, like clockwork, Palmer showed up, assisting the opener, scoring the second, and then assisting the third, coming back 3 days later.
Oh,
to
I forgot
free
about
kick
that.
Won them the whole thing. Now,
Oh, I remember
Palmer
that.
was an European champion in his own
I haven't seen him that,
the
like,
academy
animated
with 13
ever.
years of service to the club under his belt, and still, even after he came in late against Arsenal, putting Man City
Bang.
in the race for the Community Shield, only for them to choke and let go of the title in the last minutes. Not to mention that a few days later he also scored their only goal in the European Super Cup, saving the club from starting the year by losing out on 2 trophies. By the time
This
came back
one,
to
he-
Manchester, instead of being welcomed with cheers, Pep
This
Guardiola,
one-
the same guy that had promised him that he'd finally
This one he
be able
contributed
start
to.
The moment Mahrez left, came to him with an offer, a loan deal out to Burnley. Palmer's answer was simple: no,
No.
and I want to leave. For weeks they pleaded with him, tried everything to make sure he stayed, but just as negotiations seemed to be looking up, it was announced Man City had signed Jeremy Doku, a 21-year-old winger.
Imagine that, bro. Like, just real quick. Imagine you're in a 4-month 2-3 months talking stage, and the bitch won't give it up. But then, like, when you confront her about it, after like a week, she got a new man's. Hey, and then loan to Burnley. Oh, that. I'd crash out.
for 65 million euros.
65.
They were about the
65.
before the Euros took place, and with Palmer still on 0 international caps and willing to do anything to make sure his name was on that list, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Only 4 days later, Fabrizio Romano claimed that after failing to secure the signing of Michael Olise, Chelsea were now in rapid-fire negotiations for a mystery attacker, and just as the fans began hyping up half a dozen big-name players they believed could be their new signing, it was announced their mystery man was Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
To say some fans were
Hey, I will say this first. You know, I was already keeping up with like Cole Palmer. I was like, this fella's a real deal. But he signs for Chelsea. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna do bits. Hey, niggas didn't want to hear it. Oh, Elise this, Elise that. I mean, it's obvious Elise. Well, you know, they forced him at gunpoint to sign a new contract and delete all his photos and all that. But Cole Palmer, I knew. I didn't know it was gonna be like that. You know what I mean? But I knew.
disappointed would be putting it lightly.
Disappointed.
They just paid 50 million euros for a 21-year-old kid.
It was 40.
Still lived at his parents' house. They already had Madueke, Mudryk, Sterling, and Nicole.
Oh man.
Ranks
Oh.
and we were paying a fortune for
I'm sorry.
1,400 minutes of senior football to his name.
I'm sorry.
Foden was the same age. He was already up to 7,000.
Dang.
It was really hard to argue that after
Foden was his
so many
age.
transfers, this would be the guy that was going to fix the most dysfunctional squad in the country. But then,
Understatement.
well, then Palmer did his thing. After 3 substitute appearances, strangely even being deployed as a central midfielder on his debut, he was given his first start for the club and straight away, with Chelsea needing to score,
Straight to business.
pulled the ball back and put it in between the defender's legs, assisting their only goal and taking the Player of the Match award as he put them through to the next round of the League Cup. Suddenly, all the news
Nigga was so good. Made Nicholas Jackson look good. You know, I had Nicholas Jackson scoring a couple. You know what I mean?
papers were writing that Cole Palmer cannot
That's why they
be
call him
kept
Cole
on the
Palmer,
bench.
innit?
And Pochettino must have seen those headlines because the game after that, he put Palmer on the starting 11.
Oh yeah.
It started with a
Boom.
assist against Burnley, then a
Penalty.
goal and a draw against Arsenal, an assist against Blackburn, a man of the match performance with another goal and assist against Tottenham.
Had that nigga Nicholas Jackson scored a hat trick. Nicholas Jackson has scored 1 hat trick against Tottenham. He made that nigga look good.
And sooner than anyone thought, the doubters were being forced to swallow their words. As Pochettino himself told the press, he arrived on deadline day and he's already playing like he's been here for 10 years.
Facts.
However, the next game would be his trial by fire.
Oh.
It was time to face Man City.
Oh yeah.
Going in, Chelsea were by
Oh.
far the underdogs.
Oh.
One of the messiest,
Oh.
most spectacular games of the season. Their one chance to stun Man City with a draw came down to a penalty.
Like he said, yeet. Took that whole man out.
Fans holding their breaths.
Oh.
Asked Sterling to let him take it and proceeded to smack it into the top.
Sent his boys, no Chelsea's man. Bro, I was at church. I had to sit in the back. This is ridiculous. I had to sit in the back. This match, oh, I almost just, you know what I mean? I almost just, you know what I mean? Almost. Oh man, if I could, oh man, if I could pay to like watch this match live, not even live, just I was at church, bro.
When the reporters asked him, "Did you feel nervous?" he went, "Not really."
No,
You
really.
can say whatever you want, but out there are dozens of dribbling prodigies. But to find one,
I seen this kid around. He's not going anywhere. He's gonna be like. Luckily, Amari Hutchinson, you know, he was featured on the F2 channel, but he's made it. But kids like these, yeah, they're like prodigies. Everybody catches up to you. Everybody catches. Why do you think Xavi Simons? Yes, he's doing well now, but Xavi Simons, this is off track. Xavi Simons, he had all this hype. He low-key flopped when he first started, but we had like Ansu Fati and Lamine Yamal. Nobody heard of him. They came through the ranks at 16. You know, these kind of like internet prodigies, they don't work. They don't work.
aside from all the technical skills, has a vision and the mentality of a
Boom!
veteran that is truly special.
What is Sterling doing?
2 months after being released from the shackles of Man City and being allowed to shine, Cole Palmer was already getting called up to the national team. And once back, I guess it was time to defeat the allegations that he could only score penalties because Palmer went in with a goal away at Old Trafford. They not only carried the team on his back with 2 goals and assists as he beat Luton 3-2, but made sure the second of those goals was an absolute stunner.
That was a proper goal.
Goal of the month before hitting his trademark celebration for the first time, which, ironically,
No offense, but if you still think stocks, real estate, or crypto are the best passive income,
What are you doing? You spend all this time working out, eating right, getting in shape.
wasn't even his idea. It was just imitating his friend Morgan Rogers from Middlesbrough, though.
Hey, shout out to Morgan Rogers. He's proper as well.
Named him Cole
He's-
Palmer. It surely
So I call him Cole
made
Palmer, innit?
sense. And even better, with those goals after just 12 starts for the club, he had already become only the 5th under-21 player in Chelsea's history to reach double figures for goal contributions. And even better, with those goals after just 12 starts for the club, he had already become only the 5th under-21.
I want y'all to look at the fellow on the right. The most mistreated player, Chelsea player, Christian Pulisic. I will make a video on that motherfucker soon. If I get in an argument with a child, a new age football fan in like 5-10 years from now, you don't know how good. How does the meme go? You have no idea how good Tim Duncan was. Oh my god! You don't know how good Christian Pulisic was. You have no idea how good Christian Pulisic was. Lockdown Pulisic. He was really. How do you like not start at all? First start, you get a hat trick. Come on, man. Against Burnley, the English Atletico Madrid.
One player in Chelsea's history to reach double figures for goal contributions. As Cesc Fabregas would say, just last year, he wasn't even being considered to play in the Champions League final, and then all of a sudden, he gets a move to Chelsea, and now he's the player of the year. Though, hilariously, if that maybe seemed like a bit of an exaggeration then, well, the best was yet to come. Look, after starting the year with 3 goals and an assist in the first 4 matches, Palmer went on a tiny dry streak. Just 1 goal and 2 assists in his next 7 starts. But no matter how well he'd been playing up to that point, Chelsea had only won 8 out of their previous 21 matches, sitting 11th in the table with a negative goal difference, more defeats than wins, closer to the bottom than they were to the top. Not to mention, they had just wasted
a painful season.
trophy by losing the League Cup final to Liverpool.
How do we lose a bunch of kids?
The one way of even remotely redeeming themselves that season was to somehow manage to climb up the table all the way to the European qualification spots. But to do that, they needed a miracle, or I guess they needed Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
He assisted a late equalizer just as they were about to come out of it with the defense.
Hey!
By the way, remember when I mentioned he had become the 5th under-21 Chelsea player in history to break 10 goal contributions in the Premier League? Well, now he had already outright broken Arjen Robben's record that stood for nearly 20 years. And the game after that, he pulled off a goal and assist, clutching a 3-2 win against Newcastle. 6 days later, having already scored the goal and started the counter that led to
This is a funny ass match.
injury time, still
It's a funny ass game.
second-tier Leicester, thanks to the fact he allowed Sterling to take a
Oh.
penalty, which he missed. So again, Palmer came out of nowhere with a backheel assist to secure the win. And finally, against Burnley, he pulled off another brace.
This is one frustrating ass match. Frustrating.
Country that unless Cole Palmer's legs gave out, Chelsea would not taste defeat again. And as for that other half, well, the next game was against Manchester United. It all started off well with Chelsea going in front 2-0 in
Look at
just
that.
20 minutes with, of course,
Game of the goddamn.
penalty, but then
Woo.
Chelsea started playing just as they had the whole season, and by the time the game went into injury time, they were behind. Still,
Imagine saying, because we're used to saying, a team is experiencing victory in the jaws of defeat. You know what I mean? But Man United, they're probably one of the only teams I can say they've experienced defeat in the jaws of victory. Like that makes no like this is one unserious ass club.
with everyone believing the match was done and dusted, 6 minutes later, Dalot
He thought he won the game.
inside the box, which, as you may have guessed, meant another goal for Cole Palmer.
Hey,
That one stopped looking as impressive once he scored. A couple minutes later to
hat trick!
and they-
Hat trick!
But
I watched this one live.
that would not be the peak of the season. The next
You should have heard me
he seized the decisive goal
in the
another
house.
draw, and then against Everton. No words would do it justice. To start things,
Hat trick!
touch to Jackson, then the cleanest of curlers with his left.
Fourth best defense, my ass. Everton are not good. How do you let Nicholas Jackson. Oh, I don't know. But it was 6-0. Too easy.
5 minutes later, he comes out of nowhere to heading his second, and only 11 minutes after that, he intercepts it and smacks it from 40 yards out. It was the fastest perfect hat trick in the history of the Premier League, the only first hat
29, no?
trick in Chelsea's history, the first Chelsea player to score in 7 consecutive home games, and only the second to score hat tricks in back-to-back home matches.
29, no?
And even after all of that, with Jackson and Madueke arguing over who would take a penalty, he goes in, takes the ball, pushes them away, and sends it in as cool as ever.
4 goals.
Level with Berbatov as the second player to score the most Premier League penalties without missing, and with Erling Haaland as the Premier League's top scorer, despite having taken only 60 shots up till that point, while Haaland was already up to 101.
Dang.
As the legendary Alan Shearer would
Dang.
say, we're talking about a player with massive mental strength that isn't a moment where he isn't calm and measured. Or in the words of The Athletic, to watch Palmer is to watch a footballer who thinks at a higher speed and definition than those around him. That's his football IQ. He slows down the mind's eye and then he finds the space, usually where there shouldn't be any. And of course, to finish off the season, a goal
Madueke was proper as well.
An assist in a 3-2 win, a goal in a 2-1 win, and an assist for the winner in the final match of the season, completing a run of 12 matches without a defeat and getting Chelsea up to 63 points, out of which he was directly responsible for 27.
That's
Take
crazy.
away the points won by Palmer's goal contributions, and Chelsea would be
Basically half.
Forest, one place above the relegation line. Meanwhile, they were instead 6th with direct qualification to the Conference League.
Nearly beat Spurs.
Brackley's debut season, Palmer had contributed to 48% of his team's goals, more than any other player in the league. 33 goal contributions in 33 matches, only bested by Ronaldo and Haaland across.
Do you know how crazy it is to be responsible for half of your team's points in the Premier League? 50% of the goals. 33 games, 33 goal contributions or something like that. Oh my god, he almost beat Erling Haaland for the Golden Boot.
There's
Oh my
22
god.
players, despite the fact that thanks to his late transfer and initial doubts, Palmer had only played 74% of the available minutes. Make those stats time dependent and suddenly he'd be above every Chelsea player in modern history, except for 2010 Drogba. Not even Prime Hazard could beat this version of Palmer, and though Haaland would indeed end up beating him to the Golden Boot, well, we're talking about a goal-scoring monster. Ignore him, and the highest goal scorer over the previous decade had taken 23 goals, only one more than Palmer, meaning that no matter what, when the awards came, that was.
In other seasons, he would have won the goddamn Golden Boot. In other seasons, he would have been the Golden Boot. In the seasons in the past. Those players were good. But were they Cole Palmer good? He said something about Hazard. I won't speak on that.
Meaningless. Palmer was awarded Chelsea's Player of the Season twice, once by the fans and
That's
another by
crazy.
his teammates, then the Premier League's Young Player of the Year and the PFA Fans Player of the Year, only narrowly missing out on the main award to Foden. But I mean, would the same have happened if they switched teams? I don't know, but when they asked for
Yes. He's a system player. Foden is a system player, yes. But yes, he would win the best young player or best player. My God, yes, he would.
all about Palmer, the one that got away. He said, if I had given him the same minutes I gave Foden, he'd still be here. That is my responsibility. But again, and I feel like I've said this a million times, he wasn't done. Palmer had gotten his ultimate wish. With James Maddison going out injured, he was called up to the Euros. Look, no matter what, they barely even considered him. 20 minutes across 3 group stage matches.
What a shame.
Start throughout the whole tournament, and somehow he still managed to be.
And for what? He didn't start the Euros for what? You can clearly see Foden wasn't doing shit. I remember against in the round of 16 or something. 0 dribbles completed. 0 dribbles completed. Get that nigga off the fucking pitch. Oh, why was Maddison going in ahead of Palmer? I know Maddison, you know, Spurs won the league in October 2023, but like after the injury, he wasn't good. He wasn't good.
One of the most decisive players. In the semi-final, with the game about to go into extra time, he was subbed in with 10 minutes left alongside Watkins, who told him, "Set me up and I'll score." And not only did he do just that, putting them in the final,
Look at that.
but
Look
was
at
there again. He came in late.
That's a striker. That's a proper striker finish.
Only 4 touches on the ball to score the equalizer.
Boom!
England would concede again and go home empty-handed. But trust me, regardless of how little game time he got, there were not many players on that team who deserved that trophy much more than him. And thankfully, there's still time. Not only has Palmer started his second season with a goal and 4 assists in his first 5 matches, but with rumors already brewing that another club would come in and take him from Chelsea. One thing's
Real
sure,
Madrid.
wherever he goes, I'm sure he will never freeze up under those floodlights.
Real Madrid. It's Real Madrid, isn't it? It's Real Madrid, isn't it? He's right behind me, isn't he? He's right behind me, isn't he? Fuck it. I know I sound like a hypocrite. I just gassed up Foden and then talked shit about him. I don't give a fuck. You know what he has more than goals in the Euros? He has more childbirths than goals in the bloody Euros. Great video. Love this guy. He just makes good content. You know, it's the fact that imagine being that good that he, like, cause he makes videos about like past players. Imagine being that good that he makes a video about you. But yeah, again, like, how would you feel if you're like being called dumb on the internet? Like, well, I don't know. All right.